Today I'm going to tell you a story about my first script. This was 2008 or 2009. My first year in real estate, I did rentals. Second year, I decided to jump into sales. And so I had no business, I had no clients. And the way I was prospecting for business was by cold calling for sale by owners. And after calling them for a few months, I wasn't able to get one appointment, which was frustrating. And I remember I was working with my friend Oscar at the time, and we worked for a company called Remax Voyage. It was very frustrating because no matter what we did, we would work, we'd make calls, and no appointments. And we knew that there were people in that office that were making money selling real estate, but we weren't able to put the pieces together. And it was very frustrating. It was like, man, what do we do? What do we do? And so the both of us were sitting down talking, and we're like, oh, we should come up with a script. So that way we were ready to close them. We have a script. We have something to say to get the appointment. And so we get a piece of paper out, and we come up with this line. Let me show you what Remax can do to sell your house. So we're like, brilliant. This is genius. This is going to work. So we start making the calls. And so we call the first person. Hi, I'm calling about the house for sale. Yes, my name is Walter. I'm a real estate agent. How much do you want to sell your house for? Blah, blah, blah. And then we finally get to the line. We're like, I want to come by to show you what Remax can do to sell your house. And I'll never forget this. The person just said, no. They were like, straight up, no. N-O. And I was like, what? Like, I wasn't expecting that. Because before, at least we used to get like, oh, not right now. Call me back next week. I'm not ready to show the house yet. Call me back when you have a buyer. But now they went from that to they went to the straight up no. Like, you're not doing that. So what I learned was I learned a bunch of things. I learned that was a terrible script. But more importantly than that, I learned that my words can influence the results or the outcomes I get on a phone call. If I use crappier, worse words, I'm going to get a worse results. But that means the opposite is true as well. That if I improve my words, I didn't know what those improved words were at the time, but if I improve what I say, that should get me an improved outcome. So again, that was the story of my very first script, which was a terrible script, but I've been cold calling for sale by owners ever since then. And this is probably, if you speak to real estate agents, this is probably one of the toughest business to go out there and get, is for sale by owners. I mean, every method of prospecting can be challenging, but FSBOs can be particularly challenging because they want to sell their house, and a lot of them do not want to hire a real estate agent. So that objection comes baked in with the lead source. So that happened around 2009. And then I joined Keller Williams in 2011 or 2012. And I met one of my mentors. His name is Lewis. And he would teach a scripts class. And that class taught me a lot. Lewis was like, he was a very high D, a get to the point person. And so his scripts class and the way he taught was not fluff. I think I had a lot of fluff and a lot of like presentation and a lot of explanation and a lot of extra words. I'm very wordy. Lewis was the complete opposite. Lewis was like, this is what you say, this is how you say it. You say it this many times, you're gonna get this result. I learned a ton from Lewis. That's just like a little bit of what I learned from Lewis. He also was a master at reading people. I think that's what Lewis was incredible at. He knew how to push the right buttons on people. He knew who he can kind of push and influence, and he knew where he couldn't do that. And he was masterful at investing his time pushing the right buttons with the right people. And so that years of listening to Lewis, and then eventually when Lewis stepped down and said, I don't want to do this anymore, I started teaching the scripts class. And me just being on the phone, I'll tell you, at the height of it, I was on the phone making calls like 6-7 hours a day. because I just didn't know any better. Now I don't do that in my business anymore, but that was at the height of it. I was doing like 500-600 dials a day, prospecting for real estate business. And so that is the experience that I bring to the table. If you continue to watch these videos, we're talking about somebody that's been doing this for 17 years, somebody that has improved drastically where I come from. And I got all this knowledge and information about making calls, about how to control the conversation, all of that stuff. And that's what this channel is about. That's part of the channel, because to me, what has really elevated or jumped my business was combining the technical aspect of scripts and of mastering the conversations with the mindset aspect of controlling your thoughts. And once you put those two together, your results are going to skyrocket. So if you like watching this video, definitely subscribe to my channel. On my channel, I'm going to make videos about 3 different things. Number 1 is scripts, having the best words to influence the leads that you're speaking to get better results. Number 2, having a powerful mindset, the right thoughts and the right ideas as you're going through the daily motions of your business is critical to you improving your conversions. And number 3 is marketing. Now, of the 3, I believe that marketing is probably my weakest. It's probably the area where I'm learning the most and I'm improving the most. So it's scripts, mindset, and marketing. If you put those 3 together, I promise you, you're going to convert at a higher level. You're going to make more money selling real estate. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.